Now you get people that go, I want to be an anime voice actor. It's like, man, it just doesn't work that way. I'm sorry.
Do you think there's any misconceptions about voice acting? I feel like you've been hitting on this a little bit, but
I think a lot of people think it's, oh, you just step in there and you make a silly voice and bam, you're a voice actor. And that's not what it is.
Guys, quit waiting around. Just go do it. Go do your own thing. If it's good, somebody will notice it and you'll be successful. Words of wisdom from All for One.
Hell yeah, dude.
Yo, what's good? It's your boy Raysean from the Raysean Gadson Anime Podcast, or RGAP for short. And guess what, guys? We got another one for you. On today's episode, we're interviewing special guest John Swasey, a professional voice actor who is known for One Piece, Dragon Ball, Fullmetal, and My Hero Academia. Join us as we dive into the world of voice acting, exploring John's personal journey and achievements, and uncovering his anime origin stories. We'll also share tips for anyone out there trying to get into voice acting. And we also have a co-host on today's episode. But before I introduce them, if this sounds interesting to you, then sit back and enjoy the ride. And don't forget to like and subscribe wherever you're listening.
Yes, it was. And that oath has kept me going through many years of not knowing if he was alive or dead. Even through the disappointments, I never once stopped looking for him. I'm not about to break my oath now. But there's more to it than that. Thorfinn is being moved by something much bigger than an oath.
Aye, but remember, I'm only the messenger. Now, as you know, when your planet was destroyed, Frieza told you it had been struck by a massive meteorite. Well, that was a lie. With each new victory, you were becoming more and more difficult to control. Your pride was making you arrogant. Too arrogant. Frieza could see that it wouldn't be long before you tried to challenge him for control of the galaxy. And if left unchecked, he feared that the collective strength of your race might actually pose a serious threat to his power.
No matter. The agents are still scheduled to gather in Alabarna. Contact them at once. Your 3 minutes are counting down. I don't have any more time to waste on the likes of you.
By now it should be quite obvious, but I'll warn you. You cannot defeat me. Listen to my warning and take heed. If you continue this senseless attack, you will have accomplished nothing.
Hollow cheeks and sunken eyes. To think that you're their greatest hero. Now the adoring public knows your true form. Try not to be ashamed. Is that so? Ah, well, I'd forgotten how stubborn you are. I guess I'll just give up. But there is one thing you might be interested to know. Tomura Shigaraki, my apprentice, he's Nana Shimura's grandson.
Before we get started with today's episode, I just want to give my guests the opportunity to introduce themselves, basically tell everybody where you're from, what you do, and also share with us your top 2 favorite anime, movie, or albums. And also on this episode, we have another co-host, Kyle.
Hey, what's up? Kyle from Dragon Ball Super Dope. But more importantly, John Swasey, how are you, my friend?
I'm doing great, guys. Thanks for having me. I'm John Swasey. I'm a voice actor and an ADR director. I been in the anime game for about 27 years, and I'd say my favorite anime movie to ever work on was a movie called The Boy and the Beast.
Okay.
So my favorite movie in the world is Jaws, and I love The Grateful Dead.
Okay.
I just got this tattoo not too long ago. Do you see it? All right.
Very cool, man. I wish I liked the Grateful Dead. And I say that because one of my very best friends is in a very successful Dead tribute band around here. And I work as a working musician. And if I just had the attention span to learn some Grateful Dead stuff, I'd probably have work for the rest of my life. But I don't know. The ADHD's got me pretty bad.
What about you, Kyle? You got any favorite albums, movies?
So many favorite everything. Favorite album of all time. All right. Favorite album of all time, Queensryche's Operation Mindcrime, power metal, progressive kind of metal from early 1990s, late 1980s, somewhere in there. But it's like a very good power metal concept album that I love and know like the back of my hand. But in keeping on theme with this episode, one of my favorite albums of all time is a speed metal band from Japan called Animetal. They're from like the mid 1990s and they did a lot of stuff over the last, 30 years. But their first album called Animetal Marathon. It's 40 minutes of them playing old anime opening songs in speed metal style for 40 minutes consecutively. And it's just this beautiful big medley of all sorts of metal, like riffs they borrow, but also do every classic anime opening you can think of. If you've never heard of them, you should look them up. Don't get them confused with Animetal USA. So that's how I'm starting today.
Okay. I'm gonna have to check them out.
You probably won't like it, Ray.
I'm gonna check them out just to check them out.
I'll send you a link.
And for my favorite album, I chose J. Cole 2014 Forest Hills Drive. This album basically revolutionized my high school era, the last few years of it, and also defined my favorite rap. So, like, if any rap is not compared to this, I don't usually like it. And for my favorite anime, I chose Dragon Ball Z. If you listen to this podcast, you pretty much know that. I've always been a big fan of Goku. My favorite version of him is Kid Goku. I haven't seen an anime that's better. So,
all right, cool. We're all starting on the same page. We all love Dragon Ball.
Now we're just going to go ahead and jump right into the interview. For my first question, I want to ask you, when did you know you wanted to be an actor and what influenced you to get into voice dubbing? We're going to go ahead and go with this. We can go back to today's episode and start with the interview. For my first question, I'm going to ask, when did you know you wanted to be an actor and what influenced you to get into voice dubbing?
Well, I knew I wanted to be an actor probably when I was about 15 or 16 years old. I was in New York City with my parents on a vacation. We went to go see a Broadway show called Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat. Pardon me. And I was blown away by the show. I was just mesmerized and it just actually swept me off my feet. And I thought, this is what I want to do with the rest of my life. I can't sing, can't dance. I never made it back to Broadway, but I did become an actor. And I did film and television starting in 87, did some theater, a lot of improvisation, sketch comedy, stuff like that. And then in about 95, started doing voice work, mainly like commercials and industrial narrations and things like that. And then in 1997, I live in Houston, Texas, and there was a studio there called ADV Films, and somebody suggested I try this thing called anime. I was like, all right, I don't even know what that is, but I'll give it a go. So I did it, and I worked on a show called Golden Boy, and just started working there and doing anime, and then eventually started working at Funimation up in Dallas, and then started directing, and 27 years later, man, I'm doing it full time. Going to voicing full time, directing full time, and going to conventions all the time. So it has become my life.
For better or for worse.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
Well, my next question I want to ask you, what do you find most challenging about being a voice actor? And also, what do you find most rewarding?
Well, the most challenging thing is trying to make a living. I mean, a lot of people think that, oh, you're a voice actor, you must live in a solid gold house and drive a solid gold car. And it's a fun job. Don't get me wrong, but it's not like, we're not making Simpsons money or Family Guy money. It's nothing like that. It's an hourly rate, and it's a good hourly rate, but we're not working 40 hours a week. We're working 5 hours here, 6 hours there, that kind of thing. So, it's tough. And that's one reason we do conventions and stuff like that. But the most rewarding thing for me is, by the way, I should say to any of your viewers, never become an actor because of the money. That's the wrong reason to do it. But one of the most rewarding things is that I love acting. I love putting myself out there on a limb and seeing what happens and becoming different characters. And the one thing I love about voice acting, especially, is it allows me to do characters that I may not get to do if I'm on screen. You know what I mean? Because it's just a voice. So my voice is a little hoarse right now because I've been at a convention and I've been yelling all day, but it just there's so much more freedom with voice acting to me, and I just love it to death.
True. Because I mean, there's so many different characters and shapes and stuff. It's like you can't tell me this has a certain voice to it. Anybody can play these characters.
And the main thing about voice acting, though, just like with any acting, it's about being, it has to come from here. It has to sound authentic and real. It has to be believable. It's not just doing a voice. It's being able to carry the emotion. That's why when everybody asks me, they're like, hey, man, I want to become a voice actor. And, we get that question a lot, or that statement a lot, I should say. And I tell people, look, man, if you're going to become a voice actor, the most important thing you can do, the most important thing you can possibly start with is learn the craft of acting first. Don't worry about being a voice actor. Don't worry about being a stage actor, a film actor. Learn the craft of acting first, because voice acting is like stage, is like theater, or stage is theater, but film, television, whatever. They're different mediums, but it's still acting. And if you can't act in one, you probably won't be able to do anything else. So learn the craft of acting. I cannot say that enough.
For my next question, I want to ask you, one of the main reasons I brought you on is because I wanted to talk about your experience working on Dragon Ball Z Kai. How was it playing a villain? And do you have any favorite moments from that anime?
The villain being Dodoria, by the way. I feel like we haven't said that yet.
Yeah, well, not only Dodoria, then I also later played Farmer with a Shotgun,
which is one of the most badass characters canonically in all of Dragon Ball.
First of all, to be part of such a legendary, iconic property like that, oh my gosh, that's huge in and of itself. And then to play, somebody like Dodoria, one of Frieza's flunkies. I don't want to say it was a dream come true, because frankly, I didn't even know much about it before I even did it. Because Dragon Ball was really kind of after me when I would have gotten into it. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I was a little over,
Based on the generation, yeah, I see what you're saying.
Yeah, exactly. But then, you realize pretty quickly what you're dealing with and what you're a part of. And, to be a part of something like that is pretty phenomenal. And it's really cool, to be honest. When we go up for roles, we audition for roles, we work on different shows. We audition a lot of times. Sometimes we just get cast. And generally speaking, when you just get cast, you get cast by the director who thinks, he or she's going to go, I know this character and I know actor X, in this case, me, can do that character. And so there's tweaking to do. There's, playing around with a voice. But when you find it, it's so liberating as an actor when you find that voice and you start to play around with it. And then again, it goes, I'm going to do the voice, but now I can do it and dispel or do different emotional levels. It's not just doing the voice, it's doing the voice, but being really excited or really sad or, whatever it might be. So
it is so cool to watch you drop into that voice.
Once you found that voice, man, it's really cool. It's really fun. And that, like I said, that frees you up to do a lot more with the character. So I'm thrilled to be a part of it. And I wish Dodoria said more. There's lots of scenes where Dodoria is in the scene in the back. He's not saying anything. So if it were live action, it'd be great, but it's not. So, but I still love it. It's great. I'm very honored to be able to play that character.
So I sort of have a follow-up question based off of your experience working in Dragon Ball Z Kai. I feel like you already sort of touched on this idea, but I do want to just make the audience aware. In addition to playing Dodoria, you're also world-renowned Jimmy Firecracker, the announcer at the Cell games. And, it is like a notable, iconic character in a way that you always associate with that part of the series. And he's very funny and very much part of the comedic relief. But for all intents and purposes, he's very much a bit character. So when you do have to approach doing those small bit characters that probably feel like a one-off for you when you're in the booth for 5 or 6 hours at a time, how do you approach those? I don't want to say throwaway characters, but when you're doing a thing that you're just coming in for a day to do, and that's pretty much going to be it, how do you approach that from a performance perspective?
Well, every character you do is an important character. There are no throwaway characters, and that's an interesting point you bring up, and I'm glad you did. you can't all be the lead. You can't all be Vegeta or Goku, but without these ancillary supporting characters, they wouldn't be who they are either. You know what I mean?
True.
So you kind of have to find your place and accept it. I mean, again, I'm just glad to be a part of it. I don't sit there and wish, God, I wish I was Vegeta, or I wish I was Goku, or I wish I was Frieza. I mean, I actually auditioned for the role of Frieza. As you all well know, it went from Linda Young to Chris Ayres.
Rest in
And then
peace.
when Chris got too sick to do it, they started like, well, we got to find another replacement. We got to find somebody else to do it. And they auditioned a bunch of people. And I was actually already doing Dodoria. But they were looking for something very, very specific. Chris did such an amazing job. And he brought something that nobody else, I think, has ever matched it, frankly.
He brought a real
Right.
snark to his dub. And I think Damon matches it for a real, for mostly, but like Chris was so good, man. It's such a shame we lost him.
It's tragedy, pure tragedy. I mean, and again, after a while, Damon is going to be Frieza, I mean, but for those who knew Chris and who listened to Chris, he brought something to it that it was so, I mean, and I knew Chris long before we ever did anime. I actually went to college with him.
That's crazy.
Let me just caveat to that. I went for a semester at University of Houston, and he was there, and I got to know him. And, it's so funny, too, because he's such a good guy. And he looked the same. I saw him 20 years later. He looked the same as he did when he was in college. He just brought something to the table, man, that was so unique and so just perfect. And it is what it is. And I will say, in Damon's defense, Damon should never and has not tried to copy and emulate. Yes. He's brought his own spin to the character. And that's important. Absolutely important. In fact, that's a lesson I learned, not on this show, but I was replacing somebody in a show, and they just said, don't mimic it. Don't try to be that guy. You're not that guy. Be you, but capture the essence. And I think Damon's done that. So,
Yeah, he's doing pretty
But still,
good. You think
will always only be one Chris Ayres.
Well, you think after a while, he's going to be the people that's just now getting into Dragon Ball. He's going to be the voice of Frieza. Just like for us, Chris Ayres is the voice of Frieza because that's the generation in which we watch type thing.
Right. That's an excellent point, Ray. Excellent point. Yeah.
For my next question, I want to ask you.
Yeah, go ahead.
Do you think there's any misconceptions about voice acting? I feel like you've been hitting on this a little bit, but.
Pardon me. I got something in my throat. What do you mean misconceptions?
Like, I don't know. I know sometimes a lot of people think it's easy. You can just go in there and do imitations and stuff like that.
I feel like John hit on it a little earlier. Like, people think it's easy to make money and it's easy to do, but like, you actually have to try hard. And it doesn't pay as much as you think it does because it's not a union gig,
Look at it like this. It's like I equate it to this. It's like learning to play the guitar. You want to be a guitar player. You play guitar?
I do, yeah. Like, not professionally is a stupid word, but I do get paid to play in public quite frequently.
That is the definition of professional. So you are. You get paid. But no, it's like learning to play the guitar. You can go buy a 65 Telecaster or Stratocaster or Les Paul, whatever you want. You can buy a Marshall stack. You can buy pedals, switches, all your cables. Get it all home.
I love this analogy.
$15,000. Set it all up. Plug it in. Turn it on. But if you don't know how to play the guitar, it's pointless. So the actor, your instrument, your guitar is your voice. You've got it. And you can go spend thousands of dollars on microphone and sound buffering and proofing and software and all these things you need to set up your own home studio and all that crap. But if you don't know how to use your voice the proper way, it's pointless. You have to learn. You have to train yourself. So I can, on the guitar, going back to the guitar, I can learn the notes. I can teach somebody, this is a G chord, this is a C chord, this is a D chord. This is a scale, but I cannot teach you how to play that scale and develop the muscle memory needed to really make it sound good. I cannot teach you how to strum chords in a way that's not just loud noise. I cannot teach you how to put all these different pieces together to make a song. You have to do that. And that's where the practice comes in. So I think a lot of times people think, I want to be a voice actor. And they think, well, it's just, you're in the booth. It's a voice. How hard could it be? I talk every day. It's like, well, yeah, you do. But, when you get in the booth, you put on the headphones, you're in a isolation booth, You've got people outside of the booth looking at you. You don't really know what you're doing. It's very intimidating. You're not going to give a great performance and you're going to suck. And they're going to go, thanks for coming. We're done. I can't deal with that. And then you go, what the hell? How do I get better if I can't be in the booth? I mean, it's tough. It's not an easy profession. Again, the only reason I'm even good at it, I would say, is because I had 20 years of acting training. I learned to be an actor. This was just another way to become an actor. And I think if you ask anybody, not everybody, but almost anybody, certainly of my generation and people that have been doing this for 20 plus years, they will all say the same thing. I learned to be an actor. This just kind of fell into my lap. But now you get people that go, I want to be an anime voice actor. It's like, man, it just doesn't work that way. I'm sorry, And by the way, for those of you watching, this is not my real home. I don't live here.
Wait a minute. You're not living in extreme extravagance like that?
Well, I thought
you look like you're doing pretty good to me.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say earlier. I was like, you look like you're living real nice, but
That's a nice grand piano, John.
Maybe he likes to keep it humble. You know what I mean?
Oh, shit. That's funny. I'm glad he clarified.
For my next question, I want to ask you is you played in the new anime Solo Leveling. How was that experience? And were you hyped for the new season that's going to be released soon?
It's funny. I was super hyped about that. It was kind of a little bit of I don't know how to say it. It was kind of they said, okay, there's going to be an anime component and there's going to be a video game as well.
Okay.
And I did the video game first. I don't know if I'm telling you something that you shouldn't know. I don't know.
Ooh, exclusive news on the Raysean Gadson Anime Podcast.
Yeah. But we did the video game like in October of whatever year we did it. And it wasn't until the end of the year that we started doing the anime. And I was like, oh, this is really cool. I really like it. I like the character I'm playing. This is fun. I love the storyline. It's great. And I think I did like 4 episodes and then my guy just vanishes.
I have a follow-up question for you on that. So having done the video game first, before really being invested in the story and the character, once you got into it when you were doing the actual dubs, did your voice approach change at all once you knew a little bit more about the character, or did it more or less remain consistent?
No, it's pretty consistent. I mean, we use voice samples and stuff like this is what you sounded like. And we try to keep it in that same vein.
That's cool.
Yeah, you don't want it to vary too much, especially going that way from the game to the anime.
Yeah,
sometimes if you go the anime to the game, it might change a little bit, but you really want to try to keep it as consistent as possible. So but he just kind of vanished
off into the ether. He goes
like a flipping coward, man. He goes, I'm out of here! He ran away. Well, clearly he's going to come back.
Hey, but still, at least you got to be a part of it,
But yeah, and I love working with Caitlin Glass, the director. She's magnificent. So I was again, people in the world of anime and the world of anything. But in the world of anime, I do a lot of dads and a lot of bad guys. Sometimes they're the same guy. People ask me, like, aren't you afraid of being typecast? And my answer is the same as always. No, I'm not afraid of being typecast. I'm afraid of being not cast. So anything that I can get, any opportunity I can to be a part of some iconic property, whether it's for the whole run of the season or look at, All for One and My Hero, we've changed actors because he's, I don't know how many, spoiler it's not really a spoiler because it's already aired. But
yeah, that was literally my next question.
Yeah, that's our next question. It's about All for One.
Well, he regresses in age. And so the Japanese at one point got a new actor. So the English dub got a new actor, which.
How do you like the new actor?
Oh, he's great. He's great. And he can do stuff that there's no way I could do it. My vocal range just isn't, I can't get that young, so it would have sounded silly for me to, now you listen to me, or whatever.
We discussed the test audio for what the dub would sound like if he stayed on to do the young version. Oh man,
Shigaraki.
Igaraki's Tomura. So my question or follow-up question is sort of about your choices for All for One, because I'm a person who primarily watches things when they first air. I'm usually watching things in Japanese. But My Hero Academia is one of those few dubs, like, holy shit, this localization is on par with the original broadcast easily. Like, they do a great job with the script adaptation, and I think all of the voice actors do a wonderful job in their roles. When you have a character like All for One, how do you choose to, or like, what do you choose to incorporate from the original performances from Japan into what you do, if you do that at all? Like, how do you come up with that voice?
So when I'm working on a new character, the first thing I always do is listen to what the Japanese actor did, because they're the one who originated it, right? I mean, that's the one who came up with the voice to begin with. But again, going back to what we were talking about, like with Chris, I'm not going to try to mimic what they did. I'm not trying to match it note for note. But what I am going to try to do is capture the essence of it. It's like a good Grateful Dead song, man. They don't play it like it's done in the studio. Every version of a song is played differently. It's got a little different, nuance.
What would the essence of All for One be if you had to put it into a few words, a few adjectives?
Well, he's very, very much in control of the situation, no matter what it is. When I first started recording it, I didn't know much about him. I didn't know much about the show. I would go up to Funimation from Houston, and usually out-of-town actors, when we'd go up there, we work on multiple shows. So I might be working on One Piece. I might work on My Bride is a Mermaid, Soul Eater, and then Colleen, who was directing at the time, said, "Hey, I want you to do this character named All for One." I was like, okay, great. And so, but early on in the show, as you know, he didn't have a whole lot to say. So I would like walk in the booth and she'd give me all this exposition about what's happening and what's going on. She'd go, "Okay, you ready?" I go, "Yeah." She'd go, "All right. And we're recording." Excellent. "Okay, thanks for coming in. Good line. Well done." All right.
Is that an hourly rate or a day rate? I hope it's a day rate.
Yeah, right. So it wasn't until, getting into like season 4. I mean, when he gets, with his big fight against All Might, when he goes to prison, from then on, he really starts to pick up. And I really started to go, "Oh my gosh, this guy's got some stuff."
Before we sound for this tonight, I watched that scene in season 3 where the big fight happens. And again, he's not even speaking a single line, but it's everybody reacting to him. All the students are hiding behind a wall, and they're like, "What is this power? What is this? Oh my God, I'm trembling. I can't even move. I'm so scared right now." And he's just on the other side looking like a badass, but not saying a single word.
Right. One of the things that I do love about All for One is he is such a calculated badass that no matter what happens, like he puts a plan into motion. No matter what happens, it doesn't matter, because he's got a contingency for a contingency for a contingency. And at the end of the day, it's all like he had planned. It's like, really?
Yeah. That's like one of my favorite modern anime tropes is All for One cutting out to be like, "It's fine that A, B, and C happened because I already planned for all these things all the way to the end." He's playing chess. Right. The rest of them playing checkers at best.
And I will tell you, not that I, took a page from his notebook, but I will tell you that it is a good way to kind of live your life, is to keep your eye on the prize.
Mm-hmm.
What's the outcome you want? Don't worry about how you get there. Don't let that drag you down. Keep your eye on the prize, because as long as you do that, you will get there.
Okay. I like that.
Words of wisdom from All for One.
Hell yeah, dude.
How to live your life.
For my next question, I want to ask you is you also played the coach. You also played the coach in Haikyuu, Coach Nakamata.
Yeah.
Do you feel like you have a personal connection to that character in any way? And have you ever played the role of a mentored or guided young people in any way?
Well, I played volleyball.
Okay.
I've coached people. I coached Little League Baseball for my son, and I certainly coach people in voiceover training and stuff like that. What I like about him is, the thing about a good coach or a good mentor is to always be encouraging, even in your moments of disgust and frustration, but always try to find a way to be encouraging, because, and I don't mean like, what, it's okay, everyone gets a trophy, good job. I don't mean like that, but even in something that bad happens, find a way to, I don't want to say spin it, but just find the good in the bad, because it's there, and use that. If you got your ass whooped in a game, well, that's okay, but you can learn from that, and let's examine that. Let's find the good. What good came out of that, And I think he's that kind of guy. I like that, He's just, encouraging, even if he thinks his boys are stupid. I don't know.
I do just want to call out both of my sisters, Novalee and Willow, both have gone on to play competitive volleyball in school. My sister, Novalee, just had her last senior volleyball game like a few weeks ago. And I will definitively say the only reason that they got into volleyball is because of Haikyuu. They watched Reddit religiously. And when they got to middle school, they both, I think they're 3 years apart. But when they both got into middle school, they both got into volleyball. And I'd like to think at least that Coach Nakamata maybe like played a role in some of that. So I just wanted to call that out for my sisters.
Well, that's awesome, dude. That's awesome.
How was it working on the movie that just released?
Hey, watch this.
Oh shit! Regular house. We're in a hotel now.
My regular house. How do I get back to full screen? What's going on here? Okay. Well, anyway, I think the movie's fine. One of the things that was sort of tough about that, though, there we go.
You got
One
it.
of the cool things about the movie, or the sad things, not the cool thing, is that one of my best friends, Kyle Jones, directed that. Ooh, that's cool. Whoa. One of my best friends, Kyle Jones, directed the first seasons of that show at Sentai Filmworks. And then we didn't get the final movie. It went up to Funimation or Crunchyroll. And so all of the actors had to go up there to record, including him, which was kind of a little slack. Yes, you know what I mean? It's like, that's not cool.
Did you guys have to re-audition or did they just have you come up?
No, they just had us come up. I mean, you're using the same cast. You're not going to re-audition anybody unless sometimes, believe it or not, in the world of anime, voice actors decide they don't want to do it anymore. So then you have to recast or whatever. But in that case, it was pretty much the same cast. Yeah.
While we're here talking about ADR, I kind of have a question about like localization stuff, but I don't want to cut you off, right?
Go ahead.
So Dragon Ball Daima is airing right now. The first
Right.
3 episodes came out in English and they put them out in theaters. And it was the first thing that they've localized for Dragon Ball. I follow Dragon Ball very closely. My main show is about Dragon Ball. This is the first time that they've localized the script under Crunchyroll as opposed to the Funimation moniker in like 20, 25 years. You yourself as an ADR director, I don't know what the process really looks like when they do localization of a script and then in turn cast and record and all that stuff. But I thought that they did a really good job with the localization of those 3 episodes, at least. I'm waiting to see the rest and I'm excited to see them. They did a phenomenal job. Stephanie Nadolny back as Little Kid Goku. It's such a blessing. From your perspective, how does that kind of stuff work when it goes from one major conglomerate to another because of a buyout? Like, it sounds like they don't do recasting, but what does the localization process look like? Is Chris Sabat still in charge is what I'm asking.
That I don't know. I really, that's a way above my pay grade. I mean, I'm not even involved in the project, so
Yeah.
I have absolutely no idea what's going on.
So let's cut it independently from Daima then. When you step into a role as an ADR director, can you like describe what that process sort of looks like for you and what sort of things that you're responsible for or how you kind of approach it?
Yeah. So basically what happens is we get a property, an asset in, a show. Let's say, like for instance, I'm working on directing a show called Eminence and Shadows on High Dive.
Oh, that's pretty good. I like that show.
Yeah, it's a cool show. I love it. Thank you. And we get the show in, we get a script in Japanese. We take the Japanese, we translate it into English. The English translation is then called spotted, which means it's time coded. And things like efforts, like the little noises and stuff, those aren't in the translations. Those are added in. And then it goes to a script writer. And the script writer then localizes it, taking the translation, making it sound, hopefully, like it's something we would say in English. And when we say localize it, we don't mean change Roppongi to New York. We're not that. But it's just, it's taking the translation and rewriting it so it sounds like something we would say. And then also, it has to fit the lip flaps. And a Western audience is very, very particular about lip flaps, as opposed to people that watch it in subtitles. The Japanese are not. They don't, it may, hey, blah, 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 it doesn't matter. We're very meticulous about it, which can be tricky because there could be breaks where the mouth stops moving in the middle of a sentence, but you have to find a way to make that pause work. And then it goes to, once the script's written, it goes to the director who then casts the show, either holds auditions or just casts from the pool of actors. And then we go through, and as a director, we're also rewriting stuff because no matter how good the writer is, when they write it, they're reading it at a certain pace. If an actor comes in and talks really fast, then we may need to take words out or get them to slow down or get them to speed up. So that's more of a dance. I will say that most of your seasoned actors understand that there's a rhythm to it. And if you stay within that rhythm, it is going to match up fine. Sometimes you have to speed up a little or slow down a little bit. But overall, it's, like when we do things in Houston, we do it differently than the way the rest of the world does it, actually. If you're going to record, we hit record, the space bar backs up 3 seconds. You get a 3-second pre-roll. 3, 2, 1. And then you start to hear the Japanese character that you're voicing. And that's when you start talking. But you don't have to start right on the money. You can start a second later. The key is then to finish a second later. So they can then take the little wave file and just go and put it in place. In studios like Funimation, Crunchyroll, Bang Zoom, I think does this. They do a beep system where you hear a beep, like goes beep, beep, beep. And then you talk on the fourth beep or the third beep or whatever it might be. And that's your cue. Either way is great. One is not superior to the other. The way that we do it, the only thing I would say is that we'll run through whole scenes and just let the actor go through for it, as opposed to doing, all right, let's do this line. Now let's do this line. Now let's do this line. And it lets the actor really kind of get into it, in my opinion. But again, one method is not inherently better than the other. It's not, they're both good. They're both effective.
Damn, man. Thank you for sharing all of that. I feel like I really just got like a inside, like day in the life of what it would be like to go in and have to dub a voiceover for an anime localization. That was...
And then there's another caveat to it is the script. So we used to use paper scripts. Now what we have is we'll have a monitor here where the actor's looking at the video, and then a monitor here that has the script on it, the script right here. And so really you can, if you preview it, you can see what's going on the screen. But really what you really need to do is focus on the script, because much like a sheet of music, the script should be written in a way where there are notations to tell you what to do. For instance, an ellipses means a pause, not a comma. Pay no attention to the comma. An ellipses means a pause. Underlined words mean mouth not seen. Italicized words mean it's a mental thought. Things like that. Parentheses, CM means closed mouth, which means OM, open mouth. Things like that. You learn to read it. You learn what it is. But that way you can just go right through the script and then, put it together and then go back and tweak it.
I love that. I got into writing sketch comedy for the first time a couple of years ago, taking classes online with a guy that used to be in a sketch comedy group. But I learned how to write in screenplay format for the first time. And a lot of the things that you just mentioned, I'm like, oh shit, that would be a better way for me to be able to convey what I'm trying to get my characters to say. Very informative is my point. Thanks for sharing that.
Yeah, sure.
All right. Winding down to our last two questions. For my next question, I want to ask you is, what advice do you have for aspiring voice actors out there that's trying to break into the industry? I know you kind of given us a little bit of snippets and stuff like that, but just to kind of just put it all down in one area.
Don't. Don't do it. No future. No, I mean, what I was saying earlier, it's learn the craft of acting.
Okay.
For one thing, learn the craft of acting, because you never know where this crazy business is going to take you. I mean, it's good to have goals. It's good to have aspirations. It's good to have targets, things like that. But, you may get into it wanting to be a voice actor and realize that musical theater is your thing, Don't get in it for the money. Get in it because you love to do it. And we live in a world now where there's so many opportunities that you can do your own stuff. You can go put stuff on YouTube all day long, create your own content. That's what, I was talking to.
We're doing right now.
Yeah, which we're doing right now. But I mean, if you found an animator or something like that, I mean, get them to animate it. You make the voice, put it on YouTube, see what happens. You never know. And again, do it because you love to do it. Don't do it because you got to find a way to monetize it. Not that it's a bad thing to want to monetize something, but pardon me, do it because you love to do it, and then if you do monetize it, that's just gravy.
Just real quick before the last question, Ray, John, are you familiar with a voice actor in your circle of like the Funimation and General Texas area named Jack Reeder? He's probably in his early to mid 30s. I accidentally became friends with him last year. He seemed like some weird kid just sitting in his basement on the internet, but in reality, he's done like hundreds and hundreds of voiceovers for a lot of Funimation titles and things like that. But you are reminding me so much of him because before I knew he was a voice actor, what I knew about this guy was he just loved playing the game of reading sketch comedy and being different characters and just trying to make people laugh. And when I learned that he was a voice actor, I was like, that makes all the sense in the world to me. He's done a bunch of bit parts on One Piece and like a couple of hundred. You guys work so much. It's wild to me. He's done a bunch of different like little bit parts and stuff, but he very much encapsulates some of the stuff you talked about today about just knowing how to be an actor before anything, considering the voice acting piece of it. So shout out to Jack Reeder. We should get him on the show, Raysean.
Cheers to Jack.
Hell yeah, Jack.
I might need to check my emails, but I think I might actually have him scheduled, but I'm not for sure.
You and I have talked about Jack before, but I have his phone number right here. You want me to give him a call? No, I'm just kidding. Not right now.
All right, for our last question I want to ask you is basically what ambitions or goals do you still have left to achieve in the voice acting?
Oh man, tons of them. I've got several projects I'm working on. I'm working on a screenplay for a movie that I'd love to see as an animated movie. I just turned 60 and I'm like, I got, no reason to stop, man. I want to keep going. That's the other thing too, is sometimes, especially when you're younger, you put these, God, if I don't do this by the time I'm filling the age, it ain't going to happen. And it's like, again, this is why we do this. We love it. So there is no age barrier. And so I've got a couple of projects I'm working on. I'm working on my own podcast called Bottom of the Barrel, which hopefully me and Kyle Jones, the director of Haikyuu, and Jay Hickman, voice actor. We're doing that we've recorded about 7 or 8 of them, and we're trying to get them all kind of put together and in the can before we start releasing them.
If you need help, please feel free to reach out.
All right. Thank you. Working on an animated script for a feature film that I'm trying to get produced, and then another short series of shorts with Jay and Kyle called Zeke and Zerlon, which is a little animated about a space alien that crash lands his spacecraft in a trailer park in Texarkana, Texas.
And I'm sure the adventures are infinite from there.
And the hilarity ensues.
Yeah, very cool. I can't wait.
It's just, again, that's just stuff, just do it, And I see so many videos of actors, well-known actors. Jason Alexander from Seinfeld. I saw one of him. Like, guys, quit waiting around. Just go do it. Go do your own thing. If it's good, somebody will notice it and you'll be successful. Even if it's not good, somebody may notice it and you'll be successful. But I mean, just do it. I myself, I'm certainly guilty of the procrastination train. I mean, I'm just like, well, I'll get to that, I guess. And, and then, a month goes by, you're like, I didn't do anything with it. I already wasted a month, so just get up and do it like Nike.
Yeah, and Costanza apparently also says, just go out there and do it, man.
Yeah, just do it. So anyway, cheers to doing it.
Hell yeah, man. Very cool. Cheers to you.
All right, Kyle, I didn't know if you had any last questions before we end.
I'm pretty much good, man. John, this has been a very enlightening, very fun conversation to hear, like, not only how much you, because again, getting back to one of the early questions we talked about, like, I think a lot of people think it's, you just step in there and you make a silly voice and bam, you're a voice actor. And that's not what it is. And it's been really fun to hear you talk about not only the intricacies of how you go about like making choices for characters, but also how much you genuinely enjoy it and have continued to build a career out of it over the last 27 years. And just thank you for taking the time, man. I really appreciate it.
You bet, fellas. Well, I've really enjoyed this myself, and I hope you all have a great night. Wish you all the best in your podcastisms. And
Bottom of the Barrel coming soon. Maybe produced by me. We'll see.
We'll let you know.
And with that, we end today's episode. I want to thank my guests for coming on and chatting it up with me. I think we had a lot of fun and learned a lot about the voiceover industry. And hopefully you listeners did too. Before we close out, I just want to let my guests have the opportunity to basically plug themselves, basically tell everybody where they can find you. So basically just give us your social media and everything.
Yeah, find me on Instagram and Facebook. Those are the two I use. John Swasey, it's easy breezy. One's a picture of me with sunglasses, and the other is a picture with me with my best friend. So easy to find. Chat me up, friend me. I'll friend you back. I love to connect with everybody, and I think we're all better off if we're all connected. So, thank you for your
y'all's stuff, and thanks for having me, man.
Very cool. We'll have links in the show notes as well if you want to go check that out. But that concludes today's episode, as Raysean would say.
Peace.